Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name is Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. The other day, I was having a conversation with one of my Patreon members, Daniel, and he was asking me a question regarding my thoughts on the Chicken Genius episode or video he just put out, or Ken, regarding Tesla stock price. And I told him, I really don't know what to make of it just yet. I haven't, I've thought about it. I was sitting on it, and I told him I would make a video about it, but I was a little hesitant to make a video about this today because I think there's already too much vitriol out there with anybody who differs opinions. So before I even get into this, my first thoughts is to make sure that I express to all of you guys, I am a fan of Ken. I think he does great stuff. Just because we don't agree on everything does not mean that he's a bad guy or bad person or anything of that nature. So I implore you to, just be respectful. If you're going to sit there and bash him or do any kind of hate, like honestly, not what this channel is about. This channel is all about love and fun and, just supporting the good nature of what Tesla is and long-term investing. So let's just try to keep it, at that upper level. I know most of my subscribers tend to be those type of people. And that's kind of why I love this channel and why I don't really worry too much about growing it as fast as possible. I'd rather have quality subscribers than quantity. So with all that said, let's jump into this. I'll go ahead and share my screen and we're just going to talk about it and I'll give you my 2 cents as we go through this. All right. So here we go.
I like Tesla as a company. I am a fan. The Model 3 Performance is the best car I ever owned, period. But Tesla is the stock? Now? You must be kidding me. I'm presenting to you facts. I know there will be reaction videos made. Toxic fanboys coming after me. What's new? But I couldn't care less.
All right, just to address that. Okay, so I know he's trying to hedge off people from coming at him from a negative perspective, which is again why I preface what I said. Again, I don't. To me, this is out of character for Ken to be like this, but clearly he's just trying to put a little armor up, a little defensive before he actually dives into what he wants to talk about. So again, let's move on past this. I know a lot of people kind of got triggered themselves about this, but guys, just let it go. Let's move on.
Don't depend on YouTube. I have a great life outside of YouTube. I value truth more. For transparency, a quick history. I bought it way back here and I sold some at 1,002. This was before the split. I bought back too early and started to hedge here. I missed out the spike. I also missed the downside.
So this is kind of why I'm all about long-term investing, is because in reality, he bought way back in those lows, and over the long term, you wouldn't really care about this. I don't like this idea of timing the market. It seems like he did get, good luck on timing it this one time, selling at the top, and then he missed a few other times when he was trying to short it or buy back in. It's just, I don't think it's a smart way to do things. I get it if you're sitting there with a margin issue right now and you need to sell because you need cash for your margin calls. I know a lot of people are going through that. That's one thing. And you should get out of margin. It shouldn't be in margin, or just, manage it the best you can. And then once you get clear of it, don't go back in margin. But this is why I like long-term investing, because all of this is noise. It really is. At this point, the reason things are going down or up have nothing to do with the company itself. It has nothing to do with Tesla and the company. It has to do with all these other externalities, the macro environment, wars going on, inflation, politicians doing certain things. So it has nothing to do with the actual fundamentals of the company. And from my perspective, I am invested in the company. I'm invested in the CEO. I'm not invested in the day-to-day changes of the world, or whether it's a day-to-day, a month-to-month, or a year-to-year, right? I'm looking at the bigger picture, the bigger horizon, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. All right, let's continue.
Started to short the stock at this resistance level by selling stock, converting my hedge to a short, and recently closed out for a nice profit.
Keep in mind too, as we go through this, I've heard people say that Ken was a long-term investor, and I think a lot of people aren't just one thing, right? They don't just have this one modality. especially when it comes to Ken. Ken's background, from my understanding, is teaching options to people. So I think his background you could argue is more geared towards the trading side, the option side, short-term, long-term contracts when it comes to options. So this to me is not out of the ordinary for something Ken would do. I've talked about this before. I believe he lives off the money he gets to live off of is by selling puts or selling calls, right? He extracts that premium and that's what he lives on. So just wanted to get some context on that.
Looking back, my consistent track record of being too early is goddamn annoying. But the profit is a profit. Guess that's all that matters. Let me ask you this serious question. This is one of the worst economic conditions ever. Do you really expect the first thing people will buy is a car? It's not just a car, a premium car. You must be out of your mind.
I agree with him. This is a crazy environment we are in. 100% agree with that. It's crazy. I mean, this is the hardest year I've ever had investing, and I went through 08, 09. Mind you, I had a lot less money then, but still, I went through that. This is just a lot crazier, and I feel like it's dragging out, and we don't know when things will end. Although I do think that we'll see a pivot here soon towards the end of the year or early next year. Anyways, that aside, his real question here is talking about, do we think during these crazy economic times that people are going to rush out to buy a premium vehicle? Well, my answer to that is yes, I do, for a few reasons. One, well, because it's happening, right? It's literally happening. Tesla just had an all-time record. Like, cars are being bought, cars are being sold. So yes, I do think it's going to happen. Now, the reality of it, during these type of trying times, look, the people, and I hate to say this, but it's just a fact. The people who actually suffer during these times are not the affluent, are not the wealthy people, not the people who make over six figures, every single year, whether it's through their job or through investments, etc. They're not the people that are actually going to hurt during this time. I mean, hell, look at me. During this year, I went to Costa Rica, I went to Mexico, I went to Spain, I went to Greece, right? And this is the craziest year for me for investing, right? I mean, my portfolio is down like crazy, yet I still did all these trips, all these things, all these luxury type of events. So to me, it's not going to be the people who are affluent that are really going to get hurt. I mean, for people who have money, have income, and have very low debt, it sucks. That's the end of it, right? It's, maybe you make some different choices here or there, but in reality, if you want to buy that house, you're going to buy that house. If you want to buy that car, you're going to buy that car. So I think this is just a little bit of a misunderstanding. Now, people who don't have, all this discretionary income where they can invest it or they can buy a new car, etc. Yeah, they're probably going to be the ones that pull back. But those are the people that are buying Civics, Ford Focuses, right? These lower end models. Tesla's vehicles are not are not for that market. At least not right now, not the price range, realistically. And to be completely realistic, even people who can't afford it, who aren't affluent, will still buy these higher priced vehicles. Why? Because they want it, brand name, etc. Right? They want the optics of having a Tesla and what that means. So I kind of push back on this. And the last point I would say is that you have to keep in mind, Tesla is looking to sell 300, 400,000 vehicles in a quarter right now, right? They're ramping up over time. Meanwhile, you have companies like Ford selling 1.4, 1.5 million vehicles a quarter. Other companies doing 2 million, 2.5 million a quarter. So Tesla is still very small in the big scheme of things. I think there's a lot of people who want to buy their cars, and they don't need to have a million people that need to buy their vehicles. They only need 400,000, right? That's a big difference. So I push back on this hard. I don't think that Ken has a lot of nuance with this perspective. All right, let's continue.
Wake up! Auto sales are one of the first sectors to get hit. I present to you some facts. You make your own judgment. Long term, 5 to 10 years, FSD, robots, no problem. Short term, the fundamentals have changed. Tesla's backlog is shrinking. Back orders are being exhausted.
Okay, so let me just rewind this real quick here. Let's look at this again. So he's saying that Tesla's backlog is decreasing. Yes and no. Okay, so what do I mean by that? The truth is, just because Tesla makes more vehicles and the backlog slowly starts to come down, that does not mean that they have a demand issue or they're running out of clients for their cars, right? There's a misperception here, right? So I think that as Tesla ramps up, they're gonna have these times come down, but as time comes down to receive the vehicles, that can create more demand. What you're seeing here is lead times for vehicles that are out months at a time, right? 2, 3, 4, 6 months, a year in some cases. Not a lot of people want to wait that much time. I mean, we're talking about these affluent people, right? Well, those are also some of the least patient people you'll ever meet. So I think as lead times come down, this spurs demand as well. And that's before they pull any other levers, right? If they wanted to, they could pull a lever of lowering prices for their vehicles. There's a lot of things they can do to increase demand. But right now, they don't have a demand problem. In fact, even in China, now we see that wait times where everybody's freaking out that, oh, it's 1 to 6 weeks. Well, now it's back up to something like 4 to 8 weeks to get a vehicle. So this is that, I don't know, this misconception when it comes to Tesla's demand with vehicles. And again, I'm not saying I'm 100% right because I don't truly know. He doesn't truly know. But on October 19th, when we see and hear from Tesla and their team, you better believe this will be probably the number one question from institutional investors and from the analysts. So we'll find out sooner or later, but I really don't think that they have a demand problem at the moment.
Back orders are being exhausted. What about new order flow? If you got connections up at Tesla, ask them. Tesla is losing market share. I know the argument bulls make, the TAM is huge. However, in such market condition, price matters. If someone is buying an electric SUV, this is a BYD Auto 3 with the Blade battery, at almost half the price of a standard Model Y. It makes people think twice, and everything I show, there are links below. Total demand.
Okay, so again, this is kind of like cherry picking. As far as that goes, you have to understand Tesla has that ability to pull the lever on margin, but they're not doing it right now because they don't have to, because they have so much demand for their vehicles. Now, BYD, sure, you can say that this vehicle is half the cost, but they're losing money on every vehicle they sell. In fact, the only way they make money on it is through government-based credits. So this is the difference, right? They need to, at a loss, sell their vehicles, right? That's the only way they can get market penetration. Whereas Tesla has the opposite problem. I mean, this is very, very different.
Destruction. China has a 1 week wait time. You order a Tesla, you get it in 1 week. Well,
this is old data. This changed right as we got into October. So, this is just bad timing for Ken to put this video out, or it's just he didn't look into this beforehand. He just took Troy Teslaike's clip there and made that his ground truth, which it's not, right? That's the thing about anything with YouTube like this, or anything regarding Tesla or just the macros. Your ground truth is very dynamic. It changes from day to day, and this type of ground truth for him clearly changed. Either before he put this video out, which I would hope he did a little research on it, but if not, it definitely changed after.
Where are the new orders coming from? From Europe, China? China's economy is in shit, and Europe is shittier on advertising from a company that says they will not advertise. Supply.
So everything there, Europe's going to shit. China is going to shit. Same argument. But again, I take you back to affluent people who have the means, people who want these products. They're going to buy them. Again, we're talking about Tesla needing 400,000 people worldwide to meet their numbers. Okay, there's billions of people in the world. I mean, there's a misconception here. But again, it's his opinion, and he's entitled to it. I know the difference. I mean, I literally just got off the phone with my father telling me that, he's going to get rid of his BMW to buy a Tesla. So, what do you say about that? People are out there. People want to buy these vehicles.
Supply constraint, can't make enough cars to supply the market. But now they're hiring marketers and cold calling. Why? You think they got nothing better to do?
This is something else too. Tesla's had a marketing team in China for a long time, especially with all the bad publicity we saw over, was it this? No, it was last summer, I think. It was this summer. I forget. But with the girl jumping on top of the car at the car show, the people putting up fake videos of brakes not working, right? It was all Tesla's Chinese marketing department who did a lot of things. We've all seen the commercials. So again, this is old news. They've had this. China is a different animal. You've seen a lot of people, wanting Tesla to do that here in the States, but and people have talked about, in China they have a marketing team, maybe even PR team, and in the States we have Elon. So I think, again, I think Ken's just been kind of out of Tesla for a while now. That maybe he isn't keeping up on some of the stuff. He's got other stuff going on. I mean, we all do. So I don't expect him to be in touch with all of this, but with a comment like this, a point he's trying to make here, I think it's a non-point. It's something we already know. It's something that has already existed. He just seems to be unaware of it.
Please just exercise some sort of common sense. Step out of the echo chamber just for a moment. The layoffs really pisses me off. I really feel bad for the employees. They work so hard. And till now, there's still nobody that can explain to me $18 billion cash, a high free cash flow at a company that grows 50% a year. 50%! Somebody just explain to me. Let me tell you something. Management.
So first of all, let's talk about this echo chamber. I try really hard to not be in an echo chamber. I'm frequently trying to see why I would be wrong. Okay, I try very hard because I don't want to make a stupid mistake. I don't want to say anything to all of you. I mean, think about it. I'm here on YouTube. My channel, I'm not a Tesla channel. I know I talk pretty much just about Tesla, but it's because I'm invested completely in Tesla outside of real estate. So the truth is, I'm an investment channel. I'm a channel that's here to talk to you about my investment journey, how I invest, and maybe you take something away from it that's of value to you. But with that said, I talk a lot about Tesla. So for me, as an investment channel, to screw something up regarding Tesla because I'm in an echo chamber, it's not a good look for the channel, all right? Especially for the bigger picture. So I do a lot of work to make sure that I'm not just in an echo chamber. I'm not listening to the same things, and I don't agree with everybody that I hear or talk to. I mean, if you saw my stream with Farzad the other day, we didn't exactly agree on every single thing, right? I mean, it's not like we disagreed that much on anything, but there's a little things here or there that we just saw them slightly differently. But I do put a huge emphasis to try and make sure I'm not in an echo chamber. So I think I wonder if Ken's in an echo chamber. All right, and more so an echo chamber within himself, right? His emotional feelings about everything going on. I mean, he's been going through some stuff. We all know that. He was off YouTube, came back on YouTube. He's had some people attacking him, and that made him think, this isn't worth it. It's all this stuff, but I wonder if all of those emotional reactions have led him to maybe be in an echo chamber of his emotions. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist here, psychiatrist here, but I definitely don't think I'm in an echo chamber. I mean, at the end of the day, I look at numbers. I'm a numbers person. All right, Tesla, best gross margins out of any other auto manufacturer out there. If you compare their sales year over year, they're blowing everybody out. If you compare where they are with full self-driving, I mean, you can argue, oh, maybe Waymo may cruise the lead. What you can't argue with is the fact that overall that we see that They have over 160,000 people out there with autonomous vehicles all over the country, not just here, but also in Canada. So let's also touch on the fact that he's mentioning these layoffs. So again, it seems like he's choosing not to be nuanced, or he just doesn't know, which I don't know why, because this is the same thing that he would have argued in the past, that people have a lot of FUD out there regarding Tesla. So what am I referring to? Well, you're talking about these job cuts. We've known about this. Tesla, Elon said that, they're planning on doing a 10% jobs cut of salaried employees. And that he said that overall, we intend to increase our headcount, especially of hourly workers, throughout the year. So it's not really a job cut. It's more of trimming fat so we can put on more muscle, right? That's the real way to look at it. And again, this is a point that this has been out there for a while. This isn't like it's something that just happened overnight and he put this video out, so maybe it was a mistiming. He should have known about this. I feel like this is pretty basic stuff for anybody who follows or is invested in Tesla.
Tell you something, management knows something we don't. Giga Berlin, good luck. Think about it this way, the cost of energy directly affects the cost of manufacturing. You literally become uncompetitive. Energy is life. I may even do a video on this. Depends on my mood. Latest.
Okay, so we'll play this in a second. This whole energy argument, we're talking about Giga Berlin. It's talking about, good luck and all this stuff. Okay, Giga Berlin's ramping up, all right? They're not actually a big needle mover when it comes to margins or anything. So over the next year, that's not really going to have a big effect on anything with regards to Tesla. Are energy prices going up in Europe? Yeah, sure. But they're going up for everybody. Everybody's having to deal with this, especially with the OPEC cuts that we're seeing happen here. Was it 2 million barrels a day they're cutting? And now you're going to have the U.S. cutting essentially 1 million barrels when the strategic supply gets cut off. So it's really 3 million barrels we're removing from the whole market. I mean, look, everybody has to deal with this. It's not like this is a isolated issue with Tesla. The real benefit Tesla has is that, the issues that Europe, that the United Nations, EU are all going to have regarding the price of energy. Well, that's happening at Giga Berlin, which is a very, very small fraction of their vehicle sales. So it's not like this is a big hit to Tesla right now. I would argue foreign exchange is going to be a bigger issue than energy for the plant is going to be. So not a big deal again.
Tesla news. The last quarter deliveries were below estimates. I think that Q4 deliveries will be much higher. But remember, the markets are forward-looking, pricing in future expectations. Well, will I buy Tesla stock again? Yeah. Again, I love the company, but not the stock price. The target is still the same at 420 pre-split, which means about 140 levels. I mentioned this months back doing an interview with Tom Nash and Mandarin podcast. For now, I'm mostly in cash. I left my smaller positions open. I don't give a shit. Remember, while it feels good to be in an echo chamber, my advice is to have some situation awareness. Don't be cocky. Markets will humble you. Invest safe.
So I agree with that last statement there. Invest safe. That's what we should do. Let's take a step back and let's talk about the last things he said there. He talked about his price target of, I already forgot, 140, I think is what he said. So on a day like today where we tumbled yet again down to, I think we closed at 240, maybe 241, you might think, okay, hey, he seems to be spot on. And you know what? Maybe he is. Who knows? I mean, it could happen. Why can't it happen? There's no reason it can't happen. I just don't think it's likely. I don't think it's likely that we get down to those levels. But even if we did, if you're a long-term holder, why does it matter? It shouldn't matter. It should just be a buying opportunity for you. And so this is where I kind of push back with him as well, where he sits there and says, don't be cocky, right? Get out of the echo chamber. Well, the way I see it is you're kind of insulting a lot of people with this statement because you're assuming everybody's in the echo chamber. Okay, maybe people just don't really care because they have a larger, time horizon and they're not looking to time the market to get in and get out, right? That's not like, talk about don't be cocky. Like, trying to pick the top and pick the bottoms, that's cocky, right? To just worry about the company and what it's doing, that's, to me, the non-risky way to invest. Again, it's just my personal opinion. That's financial advice. Do your own homework, do your own due diligence, but these are my perspectives. So with that said, look, I still love Ken. I think he does great stuff. I think he's very wrong a lot in what he just said here. I don't think he did a lot of research on this video. As you could tell, I mean, these points are just very easy to counteract. He has a lot of holes. Tesla China lead times are back up. The job cuts, that's silly. Tesla Energy in Giga Berlin costs, that's a joke. This whole idea that in these trying times that, who's going to buy a car? Well, hello, we've been in these trying times since November. And guess what? Every quarter, except for Q2, because of the Shanghai shutdowns, we've seen record on top of record. And guess what's going to happen next quarter? He even said it. We're going to have yet another record. So clearly that thesis kind of falls apart. Now, again, if you're talking about Ford Focus, you're talking about Honda Civic, if you're talking about like I don't know what Volkswagen's cars are, a Passat or, a Corolla. Yeah, I get it. That you're probably right with those, but Tesla's a different beast. Tesla's in another lane. So those are my thoughts. I just wanted to put it out there. Again, please be positive, be respectful of Ken. We don't need to have any negativity out there. I think we need more support within the community, and it's okay to have differing opinions. It's okay. That's what makes a market. One person thinks it's going to go down, another person thinks it's going to go up. That delta there is where we have winners and losers. So I think that it's time to buy every single day, which is I keep buying. And if he's right, maybe it's foolish. We'll find out over time. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep dollar cost averaging. I'm going to keep adding to my pile of Tesla shares. And I believe in 5 to 10 years, it will be a $10 trillion company, $7 trillion company. And this seems very obvious to me based on numbers, not based on being on an echo chamber. Again, the math is pretty straightforward. And it's not just me either. I mean, you talk about echo chamber. I mean, you have people like Gary Black and Ross Gerber. Okay, maybe you call them echo chamber. What about Ron Barron? Okay, what about Pierre Ferragu? What about, there's many analysts out there that feel this way. And I don't know if I would call them exactly an echo chamber. And if there's one other thing, he said in this, like, listen to Tesla management, right? They know something. And to me, what they know is that we're going to have FSD beta wide release ready for the world, as long as regulators approve it, by the end of the year. And that, to me, is reason enough to stay in the stock. All right, I appreciate you guys. I know this is a longer one. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. I love you all. Peace.